Okay. So for SIE and 6 and 63, the best way
Mhm.
to study through Kaplan is obviously going through the information as much as possible, right? Like the most the most beneficial way is to get access to all the information and get exposure to all the information. But reading it every night is sort of like brutal, right? So
Yeah.
all of the, the manual is here, the manual audio is here, the class notes are here. I didn't do that stuff. So I went here, right? I focused on the video library
Okay.
because the video library like gives you little bits of everything. So now obviously I know this one says that I didn't do it. I did. I don't know why it's not showing it. But when you click into it and it starts playing the video, once you click it,
Video presentation on preferred.
let me get rid of him, then you can change the speed. And so the first time through, I would at least put it at 1.25 because they talk really slow, especially on the SIE side. I can't remember all their names, but they use the same people over and over and they speak really slow. For me, the best way to study was to listen to them, read this while I was going, and then I just took my own notes in a book and I just labeled it by unit and then just kind of took my own notes because as I was reading, like listening to it and writing it down, more of it was sticking because when I started doing it by listening to these guys and then having these class notes open. And
Uh-huh.
what I realized is that I was just sort of reading and like listening, but everything was already sort of written down. And so I wasn't writing anything down and nothing, it wasn't retaining as well. And so I went back to the videos, listened to those, read them, and was writing my own notes. And then this is where you make your money, right? The securities QBank. Now, these exams down here, you can do so checkpoint exams, right? Unit one, two, three, four,
Mhm.
five. Those you can only take one time. And that's what I hate about Kaplan, right?
Okay.
So you take it one time. If you don't pass it, you just don't get it. See, like I got a 68 and you need a 70. So I technically didn't pass that section, but you can't take it again, which is stupid. But where you make all your money is QBank, right? So QBank, and you can see like I did this a lot, right? Now, the way to do this is create a custom quiz. And when you do that, you can quiz yourself on the entire section, like all the material, or you can just do unit one, two, three, four, five. But the best way to do it, no matter how you do it, right? Let's say I wanted to just get like a quick look at like 25 questions from everything, right? So I'd come down here to number of questions, make it 25, but I don't use these, right? I only use unused or ones that I got previously wrong because
Okay.
then that way I'm getting exposure to different questions every time I take a QBank. Okay.
Mhm.
Then down here for quiz features, I always turn on show score as you go and show answer explanations because then you get like instant feedback while you're studying, right? So let me just show you what that looks like if you haven't done it yet. Like I'm not even going to read the question, I'm just going to pick an answer. I got it wrong, who cares? But it shows me the right answer. And then down here, it shows me the actual like explanation. And if I want to go read more about it, it's in Learning Objective 3E. So go to Unit 3, Section E, and it should be in there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Way better way to study. Now, if you wanted to actually simulate the exam in QBank, you can do that too. When you click simulate the exam, it's automatically going to give you, should give you 50 questions. But now when you pick answers, you don't get any sort of feedback because now you're simulating the exam, right? You can still check them for review. You can still, skip it, check for review. And then when you look at your questions, wherever you have one that's checked for review, it'll give you a little check mark to go back and like review it. These are good when you're feeling confident, you've been through all the material, and then from there you're like, yeah, I think we can do this, right? So that's QBank. This is really your best friend. These study calendars, whatever, but video library and QBank, for me, that was where it was at in terms of like tactile studying. Now I'll show you over here, what I did too for like external from Kaplan on like course material stuff was the securities guys.
How is the amount of questions on the SIE similar across all states, or is it different like the life insurance one was?
SIE is a federal exam because it's administered by FINRA, so the Financial
Okay.
Regulatory Authority, right? So that's everybody. Every the SIE is the same no matter what you do, right? And so securities, I made these folders so that you guys would have access to all of this kind of material. So this is the Kona Butterfly Series 6. This is Security Guys Series 6. And then
Okay.
SIE. There's a ton of stuff in here.
Yeah.
So I'll give you guys access to all this. The big thing with the securities guys stuff is this one's pretty good. This is their explanation of the same material. And it's based on FINRA's stuff. It's not based on Kaplan. It's not based on Kona, nobody else, right? And so the thing I like about the securities guys is they explain the test that you're taking, right? So SIE is just sort of like inch deep, mile wide on everything in the field. The Series 6 is sort of like the next level up from the material of the SIE. The SIE and the 6 are very, very similar in terms of the actual material itself, right? And so as soon as you take your SIE and pass it and we get your U4 completed, we need to immediately jump into getting you registered and like scheduled for your Series 6. You should.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying, is that it's a lot of repeat material, just like a level deeper.
Yeah, it's the next level deeper. It goes into more of like suitability and recommendation type stuff.
Okay.
So it takes the same material, it just sort of like takes it from like high school to college level is the best way to think about it, like a 101 to 301 sort of jump. And then the 63 is a completely different animal, right? The 63 is just the like blue sky law, Uniform Securities Act. So it's really just straight memorization of some laws and like things you can and can't do, things that you have to be licensed for depending on like the state that you're in, the state that the client's in, those sorts of things. So that's really the big one on the 3 different exams. People say the 63 is the easy one, sort of, right? The 63 is more it's more just straight memorization, right? There's no formulas, there's no math like to speak of. It's just understanding the laws and understanding like memorizing some charts. And once you do that, you're fine. It's actually a shorter test. You only have like an hour and 15 minutes for 65 questions. It's way better, right? And so the securities guys, again, this is their book for that. This is sort of their like explanation of stuff. It's way better, right? Now, again, you only need a 63 in, well, you need it in every state except for Florida, Colorado, and Louisiana and Puerto Rico to be considered a registered rep, right? So in Florida, if you have a series or SIE in Series 6 and you've run the numbers, technically you can become a regional vice president. That's what I did because Andy pushed it through and got Mario to buy off on it because we had run the numbers and my income was already super high. And so it was sort of a no-brainer. He wasn't going to make me wait for a 63. Plus, it was in Andy's best interest that I became regional vice president at the time because he needed a 3rd RVP to become a senior vice president. So, yeah, so there was a lot sort of riding on that. In a nutshell, that's kind of it, right? Like, what questions do you have? And I'll send you guys, I'll drop all of these into that Google Doc folder and give you access to all that too. So
that's honestly really the main thing. I'm hoping that, if we just follow